Wake up! What's up guys, Ian here from Sleep Deprivation. Going to be doing a bit of a talk about building support, or a little bit of a support guide for builds in general. And what brought this on was a recent ranked game I had, and I'm in Gold 1 by the way, so that's about the level that I'm at. Normally I would think people at that level should know how to build support, but this game proved that there are still many people, even at my level, that don't understand how to build support properly. Now, a lot of people get thrown into support that it isn't their main role, I understand that, but I'll give you an example. Both of these builds I'm about to show you are actual builds that supports had in one of my recent ranked games. Now, the first guy picked Shen. He was on the enemy team, and his build was pretty much this. Watcher's Gift into Lona's Mask, which made sense, but then he went into Shoes of the Magi, Soul Reaver, Ethereal Staff, Spirit Robe, and then he got rid of his Watchers and Lonos for Gauntlet of Thebes and Adventurer's Blade, which is probably building into a Wing Blade, I'm assuming. Now this build just shows that this guy has no idea what his role is as support. First of all, starting with Watcher's Gift and Lonos, that's good. I like that. But Shoes of the Magi, you really should not be going pen boots or pen. They're the one basically set of boots that you shouldn't get. Any other pair of shoes is perfectly fine, but this one is basically meant for damage, and you're not getting any other utility out of it that you could from all the three other forms of boots. Because your main role as a support is to peel, set up, and take damage, and you don't get that from pen boots. Then he goes into Soul Reaver, so he's basically building damage, and not only is he building damage, but he wants a very expensive damage item next. So at this point in time, he's got no defense and a very expensive damage item, so now he probably only has 2 items in line when most other supports at this point would have like 2.5. Then he goes into Ethereal Staff, another damage item, which the crowd control reduction and the 200 health is nice, but you still have no protections 3 items into the game. He doesn't get any protections until his 4th item, which Spirit Robe is a good item and actually is pretty decent in the slot that he picked it in. It's just the items before that, not so good. Gauntlet of Thebes is a great item, but once again, by the time he picked it up, he should have gotten it a lot earlier. And then going into Winged Blade eventually, that's a decent item overall, but just the way it works with this build, he just didn't have enough protections. He didn't have enough cooldown. It's all around a bad build. Now, while the enemy support clearly showed signs of not knowing what he was doing, our support went Bacchus, and he had an insane amount of worshippers. He has played over 2,200 games as Bacchus, and his build was this. He went Watcher's Gift into Rangda's Mask, into Cooldown Boots, Wing Blade, Void Stone, Jade Emperor's Crown, and then last item Urchin, which he sold his Watcher's Gift for. Now, Shoes of Focus, Wing Blade, Void Stone, and Jade Emperor's Crown are all decent items on their own. There's nothing wrong with any of them to begin with, and Hide the Urchin isn't necessarily a bad item too, but just all this together is not great. And Rangda's Mask is just flat out, you don't do that on Guardians. You don't do that on supports. It's honestly not an item that is picked up pretty much by anyone right now. But this guy, like I said, he's played a ton of Bacchus and support all around, and I actually looked him up on Smite Guru and looked at his match history, and he runs a relatively similar build to this almost all the time, except a lot of time he actually goes with pen boots instead of Shoes of Focus, so it's even worse. So with this being said, and what I've seen here, I am going to give you pretty much a cookie cutter support build. It's one of the main general templates that I see most supports build at my level, and it's a build that you don't have to go exactly that build all the time, but it's a good solid build that you will generally not do any wrong with. Now to demonstrate this build, I went with the most supporty of all supports, Ganesh. And the build is as follows: Watcher's Gift into Lono's Mask, into Traveler's Shoes, Sovereignty, Gauntlet of Thebes, Heart Ward, and then your last 2 slots that you replace your Lono's Mask and Watcher's Gift would be either a Spirit Robe, a Mantle Discord, or you could go with a Breastplate and a Shogun's Kusari, and then you would replace your Traveler's Shoes with either Cooldown Boots or Reinforced Greaves. Now to go a little bit more into depth with this is a pretty much a cookie cutter build. It'll work on any support. Now as you get better and better, you'll obviously learn to adjust your build. This is not the be all and end all build. So there's a lot of other builds that go out there that don't have to build like this. This is just a build for people who are perhaps not as familiar with support, or people that are not comfortable in knowing how to counter build yet. Now, the reason why I built this is this build with the first 3 items, the Watcher's Gift, Lono's Mask, and Traveler's Shoes, are going to give you maximum mobility and maximum gold earning potential, while giving you that little bit of HP 5 while out of combat as well. So it's going to help you rotate more. It's going to help you earn gold if you're not great at earning gold normally as support, and it's just going to put you all around in a good place. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Traveler's Shoes, it doesn't have to be those boots. You could easily go with Shoes of Focus if you want cooldown and the extra mana, or Reinforced Greaves if you want to be a little bit tankier right off the get-go. Now these next 3 items, Sovereignty, Gauntlet of Thebes, and Heart Ward, are aura items. They're relatively cheap. They're going to give you a high amount of health, and they're going to give auras to boost the defense of your allies. They're great items, and I highly recommend them. These first 6 items here are pretty much core. Now, in regards to Sovereignty, Gauntlet of Thebes, and Heart Ward, you don't have to necessarily build those 3 items in that order. The reason why I built them in that order is that for the most part, you're going to have a physical ADC and a physical jungle, and those are going to be the main sources of damage you're initially coming in contact with. Therefore, getting as much physical protection and health online for you and your ally is going to be key. Plus, this is going to give you, as I mentioned, a good amount of health on Sovereignty and Thebes, with a good amount of HP 5. If you're rocking that with the Traveler's Shoes, you're going to have a combined 65 HP 5 out of combat and 40 HP 5 in combat. With if you have a fully stacked Lono's Mask that's 150 health, you're rocking a good 700 bonus health at that point as well, which is really going to be helpful just in those first few items there. And then you get the extra 200 from Heart Ward. So you're not going to have as many protections if you built selfishly, but going into a team fight, you basically are rocking 50 physical protections and 40 magical protections for your entire team. And it's not like you're lacking in the defense area, because you got a good amount of health chunked up on there too. Now those last slots, I threw in Spirit Robe and Mantle Discord. They're pretty much foolproof. You can't go wrong with that. It gives you cooldown, gives you crowd control reduction, and gives you the passives of reduced damage when you get CC'd, as well as if you get too low, that extra stun that comes out from the Mantle Discord with CC immunity is going to be great too. And then in regards to replacing your boots, if you're wanting more cooldown, go for the cooldown boots. If you're wanting to be a little tankier and maximize that crowd control reduction, let's say it's a really crowd control heavy team, get the Reinforced Shoes. When you combine that with Spirit Robe, you max the cooldown reduction, crowd control reduction as well. Now, let's say that you have a auto attack based team. Like let's say you've got an Osiris in the solo lane, like a Mercury in jungle, and an auto attack based hunter like say Rama. You could build a Shogun's Kusari, which is still going to give you the cooldown reduction and the crowd control reduction instead of a Spirit Robe. And then to compensate for the physical and give you more cooldown, you can build a Breastplate of Valor. Although if the physical isn't that damaging, you could still throw in a Mantle of Discord or Spirit Robe as well. So this build here is like I said, easy cookie cutter build. Great way, it works on every support. It's not the be all end all build, and obviously these last 2 slots you don't have to pick these 4 items. You could pick something like say a Wing Blade if they're applying a lot of slows. Those last 2 slots after you build your aura items are pretty much just situational items, whatever works comfortable for you. But if you don't know, then you know, a combination of these 4 items here is always going to be good. Anyways, that's my just quick little build guide for supports. Hopefully this helps you out if you're unfamiliar with support, and it works really well in ranked, at least at the level I play at. So definitely give it a shot. If you have other builds that you think are good, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys next time.